I give steaming people their 5-minute warnings. The warm springs cast a spell, Bill and Linda say, like a living death. We try not to use that phrase around the customers. We say the minerals have a soft power over the body. We scotch taped a benefits breakdown to the front desk. The bicarbonate of lime, sodium chloride, silica, alumina, potassium. We say they help blood or benefit heart action. The magnesium sulfate loosens the muscles and has a laxative effect. A living death, Bill and Linda say. We know what keeps people coming back to the baths. It takes discipline to punctually warn. I keep 4 timers ticking in the employee office. Each one counts down to 55 minutes. Couples get about an hour in the phosphates before I knock. Keeping time keeps the present ordered. The timers move along the same slow seconds, but the numbers are always different. Sometimes I forget they're all counting the same thing. We've got 8 baths in slotted wood shacks. They're warm, it's true. The water keeps at 104 degrees. It comes from a hot spring a mile and a half up the road. We've got a metal fence around the spring because kids used to steal soaks in the middle of the night. We caught a couple giving each other hand jobs. The moon was still up. The spring got a new sign that reads, "You're being watched at all times." Linda calls the sign aspirational. We had to change the name to warm because the water loses some heat on the drive. People expect to burn when they hear the word hot. When they hear warm, they know to relax. Warm is a word that's relaxing just to say. I grew up about 6 miles up or down the road when the springs were still called hot. My dad put my doughboy body into the hot water and I thought my skin was going to curl off. When I got older, the water felt like a weak bath you forgot you ran an hour ago. That was an abrupt end to a childhood. Being an adult turns out to be a weak bath. We've got a field of wooden shacks on a bluff by the French Broad. You could walk to each bath in 5 minutes, they're that close. I tend to take the Ford from the office down to the baths when the time is almost up. I could walk in something like a minute, but I prefer to ride. I get about 30 seconds of whatever song I want. Couples are in varying states of living death when I knock. I can spy them through the cracks in the wood. Angles of repose, Jamie calls them. We compare knock notes. Jamie swears he saw the fattest man in the world sucking on his girlfriend's titties in the bath. That was a prime angle of repose. I told him I saw 8 naked men doing a circle jerk, even though I knew I was making it up. Most knock notes are the same. The soakers look beamed up, heads bobbing out of the steaming bicarbonate, their bathing suits bubbled and lined with Senor Frogs. Sometimes the soakers are eating face, curled and purring on each other, the magnesia's laxative properties getting them bothered. Sometimes I just see a foot. That's an alarming angle of repose. I knock and scan for the breathing head. Usually I've just missed it, half submerged at the surface of the bath water. Only once we had a true sleeper. I warned him right at 55 past and got no grunt in return. I always get a grunt or a hurried thank you. I got nothing out of the sleeper. Jamie's CPR certified and performed the mouth-to-mouth. It was one of those times when you feel like you should and shouldn't rag on a guy. Jamie has no hair on his body, and he knows how to live in the present. His skin looks repasted every morning, like wet wheat. I asked him about the skin once. He told me in a past life he'd been burned in a large oven. But the trait to take home is his nose, a hooked and peeling thing. Every day it looks newly blood red, as if he spent the night sanding it down. So far it's bled through 6 seasons at the baths. None of us can't not stare. Jamie is a crow person. He's thin like no one I've ever seen. You'd swear that he had just come in from a flight over the French Broad. When I see tawny hawk feathers sticking out of the grass, I make believe they're Jamie's. They always have a little flight in them when you pick them up. I keep them in a drawer to return to Jamie as a gag. Jamie is my model of a present living person. I can't help but watch him move, watch him eat, watch his Adam's apple pull Gatorade down to his stomach. He's got a circle of fire and water licking each other, tattooed on the inside of his forearm. He told me he's got a massive bird of prey and Cupid's evil twin in places he can't say. It's not like I'm trying to see any more hairless skin. I like to catch Jamie brushing his teeth after lunch. He's got horrible rodent teeth, but he keeps them clean. At 2 p.m. on the dot, he scrubs at them with a travel brush. Sometimes I fish through his big bag of green floss aids. He showed me how he can pass a floss directly underneath the tooth. What's connecting your tooth to your mouth? I never ask. If I get to the men's room at 2:15, it's too late. Just drops of gum blood in the sink and a trashed floss aid. The baths were once an internment camp for Germans during World War One. I picture it's 1918 and the soldiers are getting tortured in the office where I set my timers. I can sense them sometimes over the gurgle, captured Germans wailing in pain, frozen in varying angles of repose. We talk about the Germans almost every day, without feeling too bad. A German soldier up in the mountains of western North Carolina, taking a midnight soak. The thing is just strange. Once a year we make a bonfire in honor of the soldiers. Bill or Linda reads the short history we all know, the thwarted German advance of the Blue Ridge Mountains, the upper ground advantage, the camp, the discovery of warm water. We make campfire nachos and I throw on a brat for the tortured German boys. Now the next part.